have a comedian friend of mine. Oh my bad. My bad. Comedian Michael Bain. Michael.
What's up, Pablo?
Coming, man.
Yeah, it wasn't. I just did the 10-foot walk from my room to your room.
Yeah, you live so far away.
You got all like dressed up. I just
no, man,
came to the gym. You just look good all the time.
No, man, I just have my flip flop, my pants from my job. That's
gym
it.
Shorts. Plus, your room is so much fucking cleaner than mine, dude.
Oh, thanks, man. I try to keep it clean, though.
I try to too, but I just got shit everywhere. I don't know, like. Yeah,
man. It's just every time I come from work, I try to really make this like my place, you know. Like, if I'm coming from a rough day, I want to have a very calm space, relax.
It's good. It's good for creativity, and just a lot of people recommend that. Like I listen to. They do. It is good because your room is your You're alright?
Keep going.
I'm just gonna talk while you die. Your room is space means everything, dude. It is, because I listened to something Jordan Peterson said about keeping your room clean because it affects the way. And then I listened to this Navy SEAL who wrote a book about maintaining a certain work ethic, and his thing was like, no, I'm confusing him with someone else, but this other person, military guy, said make your bed every morning.
What's the name of the guy?
I don't remember. Turn them on up. I don't remember names, but if I hear a good piece of information, I'll take it away with me.
Goggy, or something like that.
Even if you told me, dude, I wouldn't remember. I just remembered, make your bed. Make your bed.
My bad, folks. So, yeah. Before Jordan Peterson, I was reading, I think it was Robert Greene. And he was talking about how to be organized.
Yeah.
The importance of being organized.
Your physical space affects your mental space.
Oh, yeah.
It does. I know, because my mother is like a pack rat, like doesn't throw anything out. So when I go home, like I get in my house where I grew up, and I'm just on edge as soon as I get in there, because there's just shit everywhere.
Oh, shit.
Like I have a couple of rooms that I can't walk in. There's just so much shit. And my father would periodically have these like times when he'd come home and just get garbage bags and we're fucking throwing it all out. Your mother's gone, we're doing it all at once, and then we do it, and the next day we catch her out in the fucking
No, man, that's
trash.
not good though. No, that's not
good. It's not.
No, me as a musician, I tend to have a lot of papers. Even before you came here, I have a lot of papers, so I have to just organize myself. Even I try. This is the thing that I try to do. So before, that's a good book that I'm reading. I just finished. It was Do What the 1% Does, right? So before you go to work, make sure your space is clean, right? Mm-hmm. And before you finish the day, make sure your space is clean. Yeah. So what I was trying, it was like, okay, let me just get this 20 minutes before I go to work, finish, clean up my room, organize my room. And man, that makes so much different though.
Plus it gets you in a routine.
Oh yes.
Routines are very important.
I started with my bed though. I started with my bed. I used to just get up and just, okay, that's it. And then...
Just do what I do.
Yeah. Yeah, but then, of course, when you started getting to the self-development word, they mentioned that a lot, like make your bed. And it makes sense. You develop discipline.
Yeah.
Now I cannot just go out of my bedroom before I just clean up my bedroom.
Well,
I need to clean everything.
It's just good because when you get home after a long day, you're like, fuck this shit, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
And then it never gets done.
Yes, never get done.
No.
And, okay, so what do you use? I know New York City is a little bit, the competition is high.
Yeah.
As a comedian or as an artist. So how do you do to just get around it? How do you manage to just be that guy? Be Michael?
I think I'm still trying to figure that shit out.
Oh shit!
I mean, I came February, March. I'm not even at 6 months yet, you know. So yeah. I'm still just. I think if you're my thing is what I'm trying to do is just be myself. And I think that's the best thing for comedy is to be who you are. And if you're a unique enough person, then you don't need to do anything else. Mm-hmm. I think my opinions and who I am is different than 90% of all the people I meet out there. So that helps. Because you probably know this in music, but when you go to see other people, other musicians, where I see other comics at open mics and shows, there's a lot of people doing the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. People think, oh, I have to do this. I have to make this joke or this. I have to do this style. And they just repeat it over and over and over again.
It is crazy. That's a good point. As a musician, right, we tend to gravitate to what the others are doing, right, so very quickly. So I'm always struggling with that concept, like oh, because I do play a lot of classical music. I'm a classical musician, but then for some reason, I want to become a follower. Want to play that kind of music, but I shouldn't. I should not become a follower. I should be a leader in my own music, right? Yeah. So that's one of the things. I don't know why it's that. It could be something very primitive that we as a human, we have on us.
It's fear. Fear of standing out too much. If you stand out too much, your shit isn't good. I mean, you're always going to be criticized by your peers. Even if you're doing something good, you get criticized. I mean, the only time you really stop being... I don't think you ever stop being criticized, but at a certain point, if you're like... When other people acknowledge that you're good, that's when they'll stay... Other people less... Because a lot of people... I've seen people say they think comics are good, that I know they don't think are good.
Okay.
Because they're famous and everyone agrees upon them. Because I would see people do this shit, right, where I would meet a lot of, like, hipster comics. If you do jokes about fucking beating off or taking a dump, you're not funny. That's just hack. And I'm like, Louis C.K., regardless of what he's done, one of the greatest comedians of all time, has jokes about beating off and taking shits. So don't act like it can't be funny or that it's hack. And then they're like, well, that's different. And I'm like, how's that different? Because you know he's above you in whatever thing you've built, and you think that guy's on my same tier or beneath me.
You know what? Does happen in music too. Like you have these pedestal humans that they musicians tend to put, right? And when you start listening to the music, you say like, that's not. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do that. But then when you ask a teacher or something back in the day, and now I don't do that. They usually will say like, no, but that's Daniel Barlow, but that's Horowitz. They can't do that. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And that never makes any sense for me. Why they can't do that, but I can't do that?
Most of the time, they're just people project their insecurities on other people. It's I feel like shit. Yeah. I didn't take this chance. I sure as fuck don't want you to take a chance because you might succeed. And then if you succeed, maybe I could have succeeded, but I was just too much of a pussy.
Yeah.
And at the same time, what's weird is I get tested by people like that all the time. Yeah. I don't just mean other comics, but I mean most of these people in my personal life will be like, why are you doing stand-up? Why are you moving to New York? Why are you trying to do this? And I'm like, why do you keep fucking questioning me? Yeah. Like, because clearly we're not happy with what we're doing because I'm sitting in the same miserable pub as you, trying to not be here mentally. And I was like, more people constantly check you to try and fucking test you. And I don't think they realize they're doing it, but they do it as a way to chip away at you.
It's subconscious.
And the more you hold out, the more they end up respecting you. It's a weird thing where like people who necessarily weren't there to support you as you gain more success suddenly show up like, oh man, I was always rooting for you. Like, really? No, you weren't, you fucking douche.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it's that thing of because I didn't do it. Fuck it. You just live close to me. I'm not going to even think about the idea that you are closer to that thing that I was supposed or I wanted to even reach.
There's something in. This is big in comedy, but I think this is just big in creativity as a whole. Which is the crabs in a bucket mentality. Rather than we all do our best to be our best, I'm going to try and squash you down and your style I don't like your style of comedy. I don't like your style of music because other people like it, and I want rather than just emulating what you do. Maybe learning from you, maybe saying, oh, this guy's onto something, I should follow what he's doing. People like, nah, fuck it, I want to keep being lazy and I want to shit on this person so that other people don't like them in a way to make myself look better.
It's like this guy when you go out the bar and you see the alpha guy just getting laid or just taking the woman, and then you see the beta male saying like, oh,
just whining.
He's just whining about.
Why do girls like guys like that? Because they fucking do.
Yeah, and then they will give you the arguments of, I would just treat her better and all stuff like that. But in reality, if you took your ego aside, you will say like, oh, maybe he has something they can learn from. You know?
Exactly.
Because leaders and successful people, they're going to get a lot of shit, man. It's just, there's no way around it, you know? And then you just have to somehow, as being that guy that's getting all the shit, you have to have some strong belief, right? Strong belief that will hold you. You're
going to be your strongest supporter.
Yep.
Or else no one else is going to be there.
So what do you do when you get to that stage, right? When you know that this shit is going down. Like, oh, in a couple minutes I was going to be on the stage. I need to prepare myself. Let me be in the stage. What do you do?
I don't really do anything necessarily. I'll look over the jokes that I know I want to do right beforehand. Like a lot of times I'll just type them out in my phone. Yeah. Because writing them makes them just easier to, and I want to specify the order. And all right, I'll start with this joke, lead into this joke. Maybe type them out, and then just go up there. I don't want to be too... Sometimes if you get too rigid and the crowd doesn't want to hear your fucking shit, then you just... Then if you're too rigid, you can't alternate. You got to be able to alternate with it.
That's a very peculiar situation. Like, if you don't have that audience that really is going to receive you, and you know it, right? What do you manage to do? Do you have some body language, or do you have some technique that tells you like fuck it, we'll just go.
I just change jokes. just like, all right, this one's not working. Just a lot of times, honestly, dude, it always comes down to, it's just audiences, just people. It's just like if you're, I did this show on the Lower East Side the other day, and I did not have a good set, and I really got to myself. But the audience was very young. They were young, hip, like 21-year-old musicians.
That's a hard audience, huh?
And they were just very young and hip. And I tried doing jokes about race and the concept of white privilege, and they immediately just shut me off. And I was like, so I got through it, and I was like, I'm going to talk about sex. And then I tried talking about sex, and that just didn't work. And then I closed on a joke that I just know is a good joke that works, and I was able to pull them back. Just because I've done that enough times.
So you already have like those kind of jokes that you basically have them like connected. Oh, this one doesn't work, and try to use this one.
Try something else.
This one doesn't work. So we have something very similar though.
It's kind of like talking to a girl.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you'll say something that works on another girl, and then immediately she just gives you a stank eye, and you're like, all right, that's not gonna work. I gotta do something different. And then sometimes they just don't like you at all. So it doesn't matter what you do, how many fucking jokes you do.
But then
they just don't want to like you.
In that case, you have to tell yourself, okay, I just believe in the process.
Yeah, you gotta don't be quick to blame the audience. You gotta realize I should be good enough that I know how to handle them. So
basically, like change the stuff. It's very similar to when I go to a concert. Right, I play. Let's say I'm playing. The last one that I had was in Italy. In the first one, I played 2 concerts, right? 2 concerts. I'll tell you, Mike, the first one, I was feeling like this is my shit. I can handle stuff. No problem at all. I can play my song easily. Now, when I went to the second one, man, I was feeling like shit. Really, I was feeling like my guts were all over the place. Like it was one of those weird feelings, right?
Yeah.
But I thought to myself, oh, probably this is just part of the process. You have to just go through it, man. Just go through it. Just relax. Don't follow your emotions. So I was trying to make it logical, that way my brain will say like, hey, this is normal. This is just what it is. This is it. You're feeling this way, but you can control it. You cannot control it, so you have to deal with it. So it's somehow I managed to just go.
But that anxiety is just a natural human emotion.
Yeah.
It's a fear response to protect you.
Yeah.
Like if you throughout history, humans are pack animals.
Mm-hmm.
We still are supposed to be pack animals. We're fighting against that. But so if you do something that could ostracize you from the group, you get anxious. So you're up in front of the group, and the group notices you. That's just an instinct. But anxiety is just your body telling you, oh, be afraid. There's a fucking tiger or a wolf, or there's
it's a threat,
there's
right?
just something is out there. But then you just have to overrule that and be like, I'm not going to die. Like these people may hate my jokes or my music, but I'm not going to fucking die. Nothing's going to. I'm just going to, and I'll just learn from it. I'll come up.
So it basically comes down to how to crack your brain, right?
Exactly.
How to crack those small fears that we have as an individual, right? And let's say that my weakness could be, writing, right? Or my weakness could be talking to people that have black hair, or whatever. Yeah. So those small fears, right? People can say, but that's ridiculous. No, we work each person works very differently. For me, for example, I don't know if I told you I tried the NoFap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we had this is the first talk I ever had with you.
You really?
Remember the day I came in here to move in?
Yeah, that's true.
We immediately hit it off, and we just started talking about beating off.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, as soon as I start doing the NoFap concept, right? I really start developing good discipline on myself. Like
I need to get on board. I fell off the wagon hard, man.
For all the people, that's not. They don't have to go that road. But for me, I thought like, okay, I need to control this area of my life. So I went there. Yeah. So as soon as I controlled that area of my life, for some reason, I knew how to control the other areas of my life. So on and so forth. So I just developed a new mechanism to just work with myself. And I've applied that into music. And it just keeps going, man.
Yeah, I mean, the tools you learn in one aspect of life always are just reusable. You just got to realize it's like you have one tool and you're like, shit, I can't fix this problem with just a wrench. This is a nail. Well, you take that wrench and you smash that nail down. It's not ideal, but you still use the same method and you do that mentally. Yeah. Is it one, because you just realize discipline. You conquered one of the hardest. I mean, those are the two biggest fucking addictions is food and sex. Yeah. Because you need to eat. And you don't necessarily, but you kind of need to fuck or get off. Or at least you tell yourself. And your dick's always here, so you can't, like, I don't drink anymore. It's easy for me because I just don't go to the store and get alcohol. This is always with me. I can't. So can't put that on the shelf. Yeah. So, in your case, drinking was like, Then you develop. Yeah, but I don't want to watch as much porn as I do either. So that's what I'm fighting. That's my thing I'm fighting right now. You know what's crazy? Porn is a huge addiction in the male. It's enormous realm. Yeah. There's people that have. It is become a problem. It's actually, I'd argue it's a problem for a lot of women too. They just don't admit it. And society doesn't necessarily acknowledge it. Because there's a lot of girls that watch porn. Yeah. They just don't say they do. Because not like guys, but they're out there. It could be because women are more feminine, right? In that area. But for men, the testosterone go low, You watch a lot of porn, your testosterone will go really low, and then you will get a lot of anxiety being around people. That's another thing. Of course, because you're telling your brain one thing, but you're doing another. Plus, once you get obsessed with that, real life will never be as good as it is on the screen. Yeah. Because it'll ruin a real life fantasy because it'll never be as good. It's just like when you do something in real life, it's never as good as it looks in the movies. Yeah. It isn't because it's made to be perfect. Yes. There's editing. You don't see the part of the porno where someone slips and falls and hits their fucking hip off a table. That happens in real life when you're fucking, but you don't see that part. The neighbor just The neighbor banging with the broom.
Yeah, stop it. Yeah, that is true. That's true. And of course, it's all about the dopamine effect.
It is.
You're receiving that dopamine effect very quickly.
Absolutely.
So you have the instant gratification, right? And then it could be a sword with double blade, like I said. As a musician, that's a great tool, man. I can have all my stuff released quickly, right? I don't have to wait a lot. But then at the same time, I have those other bigger gratifications. I can just search those things very quickly. So it's all about the self-discipline. So that's what I'm constantly working right now. And the difference, I know you're from Boston. Tell folks a little bit the difference between the Boston area of how to make business there versus the New York City area.
You mean just in general or stand-up wise?
Stand-up wise.
It's just smaller. It's much smaller. So it is very. It's competitive in a different sense. Here it's very, very competitive.
Yeah.
And there's just so many people from everywhere trying to fight for these small spots that are almost non-existent. Like the way it used to exist doesn't really exist anymore because of the internet age. It's fucked everything up. Everything is different now from the way it used to be. Nothing's the same. And so the advice that the older guys can give you isn't necessary. Some of it is core. You know, be proactive, be a hard worker, always be writing, be creative, be on top of your shit. Don't be your own worst enemy. You know, that's just life advice. But certain avenues to getting into clubs don't quite exist anymore. The internet's changed all that. But Boston's smaller. It's way more of a crabs in a bucket mentality.
Yeah.
It's just more of a. There's a lot of resentful people because there's a lot of people who. And I don't think this is necessarily unique to Boston, but I think Boston's very bad about it. There's a lot of people who didn't necessarily take a chance and go to a big city, or just try and be like an internet personality. They didn't take a certain chance, and so they just kind of hang around, and they get pissy, and they do what we talked about, where they point fingers at other people finding success, and they fucking poo-poo them and say you suck and all that shit. And there's it's just not as a creative place as New York, and that's just the city, period. And not even comedy.
You're not talking about outside the city.
I'm just talking about Boston, period. There's not the attitude for creativity like that exists here doesn't exist back home. I mean, like, look at our apartment. It's me, you. We have one of our roommates in the theater.
Music theater, yes.
And Mike's trying to do his thing as a lawyer. Everyone's working towards something, whereas, like, back home, that would be so much more rare.
Yeah, even my first roommates downstairs, one was an artist. She used to paint and stuff like that. She was still trying to make things happen. The other one was a dancer. And the other guy was a comedian.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sort of, I think. Yeah, sort of. But he was trying to at least make comedy part of his life. So, yeah, for me, New York City, man, I was talking with my last guest here about New York City, and it's for us, it's more about how can I just set up a venue, set up a concert, how to make people come in, which is
it's tough. That it's so much easier back home to get people to come to a show.
Yeah.
New York's probably one of the. I don't know how it is in LA. I can't speak for it. I imagine it's like New York, but New York's probably one of the hardest to get people to come to because there's so much to compete with. You're trying to get people to come into your bar show, and meanwhile there are, back home we've got. I think we've just got 2 comedy clubs in the city right now. Just 2, not including the stuff that comics are creating. So their comics have started shows in bars and stuff.
Yeah.
But maybe 2. Only 1 full-time club, and I guess maybe 2 or 3 that we're going to count the part-time places. Yeah. Whereas in New York, just in Manhattan alone, there's 23. And they're all fighting to get tourists in. And so you're going to compete with them to get tourists in. But you're competing against New York City itself. Every time you walk down a block, someone is telling you, come into this strip club, come into this comedy show, come into this burlesque show, come see this thing, come see... There's fucking posters and billboards and giant moving lights everywhere, not just in Times Square. So people get jaded. And they're like, well, unless your thing is crazy good, fuck you, I don't care. Whereas back home, you could easily, it's so much easier to get people in off the street.
In, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically, if you go to Little Italy, you walk through that street, right? You will see every restaurant trying to get some customers. Hey, everyone just trying to get some customers. And I think that's the same mentality, not only the restaurant or whatever is your area here in New York City, but everything, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I have done concerts, Michael. I only had like one person.
Yeah, man. I've done shows like that.
And it's like, okay, no one came. We're going to still do the concert.
Yeah.
We'll just go through the entire concert.
Really?
But yeah, I did not.
Oh, that's rough.
Concert, yeah.
Might be different as a musician because you can just kind of zone in. As a comic, you need audience reaction because I've done those shows and they're fucking. I want to just as soon as I walk outside, I'm just like, can I eat a bullet? Can someone please? Can I step in front of like the L train and just die right now?
That's crazy, man. But I would just. It doesn't matter. It's not the first time that happened. Happened to me a couple of times already. But it's still, when I don't have anybody in the audience, I still do go to my concerts.
Those make you strong, though.
Yeah.
They make you strong. And you still, even if there's 4 fucking people there, you got to treat them like there's 100 people there.
Yeah.
Because they're there. They want to see you. You want to give them a good impression.
Do you know David D'Angelo?
Yeah.
David D'Angelo. So he was talking about being independent from the results.
Yes.
I don't know, when I used to listen to his 77 laws of being successful with women and being alpha, all that stuff, one of his laws was be independent from your results, or something like that, those lines. And that's what you become. When you have those concerts that no one is there, but you still go through them, that's when you need to put those ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've seen that, and that's just a good muscle to have because it means that you're always going to deliver what you think is best, and what you think is best is usually your best because you're the one presenting it. No one else can tell you. Because I remember doing this very bad room back in New England, and the audiences there just didn't laugh very much. And the way the room was structured, the ceiling, it wasn't acoustically built so that you could hear the laughs. So if you would do a joke, you wouldn't be able to hear it. And I had to do a show not long ago where I was headlining, and there was music coming from another room down a hallway. And because of the lights in my eyes and the music, I couldn't see the audience, and I couldn't fucking hear them. So I didn't know if they were laughing at my jokes or not.
Okay.
So I just had to go off of instinct. I know this works. I prepared this. I worked for this. I'm just going to fucking do it. I know that they would laugh at these punts. Hopefully.
Yeah. I'm
getting an idea. So I can only hear like the 3 people in the front row and then some loud-ass fucking bitch behind them who keeps talking. But she's laughing. She laughs and then talks through the next fucking joke, but she's doing something. Mm-hmm. So I just had to do that, and then some people were like, oh, you had a good set. And I was like, really? I had no fucking idea. I was dying up there the whole time.
Oh, man.
But I knew just by doing so many of those shows, and that previous show, the first show I was talking about, when my friend went to go do it, I said, just so you know, because my friend, when the audience doesn't give him anything, he gets very antsy. He needs to hear the laugh. If he doesn't get the laugh, it like bothers him and his anxiety. And I was like, dude, and then you start, the way he'll act on stage changes, and he starts getting neurotic. And I was like, just do your good stuff. They're gonna like, but don't let it get in your head that you can't hear them. All right, because the room is structured in a way that you're not really gonna hear the laughter. And then he texted me that night, an hour later, and he goes, I just had the worst set of my life. And I was like, I'm sure it wasn't that bad. I'm sure it wasn't that bad. You just didn't hear, and it fucked with you. You can't, because I've seen guys do that where they don't get a reaction from the audience the way they want or the way they need, and it affects them, and they become angry towards the audience. So many fucking dudes do this, and it drives me nuts. I see people do this in the city, and you've got 3 people in an audience, and they don't fucking roar out of laughter like there are 3,000. They're just 3 fucking people. Normally in a show, you only have so many people that really laugh loudly, and then other people are kind of quiet laughers, and some just smile, but they're still enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
And without that, then the comic will attack those 3 people for not laughing loud enough, and then you ruin the show for everyone.
Maybe. Here's the thing. One of those 3 people that are sitting down and listening to your jokes, right? Maybe one of them will tell 5 more people, mm-hmm. Hey, this guy, I went to this bar, and his jokes were very good. I really loved them. So now you have 5 more people. Yeah.
They say
and
that,
so on and so forth. Yeah.
I mean, it's just good technique. It's just good as a fucking entertainer to give people, to not be. Don't project your bullshit on the audience. Be a fucking man and handle your fucking thing. Yeah. All right, handle your thing. If you're confident enough to get on stage, you should be confident enough in who you are and your material. Yeah. So we all have our off nights or whatever. I've always been told by older guys that the true mark of a headliner, which I'm not there yet. I've only just started headlining. I've got a long way to go. I'm not speaking as a comedic expert. I'm just speaking from where I'm at in comedy, not as some lord of comedy. Just my own experience. But I've heard from guys further up the ladder than me that, the true mark of a headliner is when you can bomb for an hour and still do your material. Just up there for an hour, getting no response from an audience or bad response, and you still do your thing.
That's a good exercise, man. It's like playing the piano and you still have this guy with his cell phone, a baby crying, people standing up while you're playing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I said this. And I know there's a lot in the community, the music community, and the classical music community, and they don't like that. But guess what? You have to deal with that. Mm-hmm. You don't have control of that. Even though you tell them, hey, shut your phone, don't turn on your phone, whatever. You don't have control of that. You don't have control of that. You have to deal with those things. You can tell them, but be aware. There's always someone. There's always a baby crying. There's always people coughing. There's always people with their phone, so you have to deal with those things. Yeah,
especially nowadays. There's no getting around phones. They're attached to everyone. They're a part of our society. You're not going to get rid of them. That doesn't mean that, like as a comic, if someone picks up a fucking phone in the middle of your set, you don't go after them. You have to say something about it. You can't just let people be too disruptive as a comedian and not address it. Yeah. I mean, sometimes, like if you've got 5 minutes. Sometimes I have to get through these 5 minutes. Yeah. I've been waiting all week for this 5-minute spot. I got to do this material. But if it's so disruptive that you have to just waste your 5 minutes. And that's aggravating. That's beyond aggravating because you waited all this time, especially when you're early. And it's different now. There's a lot more open mics, but you would, or there's a lot more shows. But when you first start out, when I first started out, wait for a while to get on a show. And then you do it. And then I remember, dude, I submit to comedy festivals, and you need a perfect 5-minute tape. Perfect 5-minute tape. You get the audience laughing in the first 2 minutes, and then usually whoever's running the festival only watches 2 or 3 minutes. And I was like, went to this club where I could get good tapes back home, and I only had a date there once a month.
Yeah.
So for 4 fucking months, I showed up and was having killer sets. And someone did something 3 fucking months in a row and just fucked it up.
You just walked there.
Someone yelled something out to me. Someone yelled something out. Someone was loud a third time, and that isn't ideal because you want whoever's watching that to see you. This is the material I've written. You don't get booked off a crowd work or how you necessarily handle that.
So what do you do? I mean, that's true. That's a good point. So in those situations that you have hecklers, right, trying to disrupt your routines during a small segment. So what do you think is higher value or lower value? To deal with that person or just not deal with that person?
Depends on the situation.
Okay, let's say that I'm a guy, you're just running your routines, and I started saying boring or whatever. Hey, whatever. So
that if it's directed at you, you have to address it. I have to do something. If it's just someone being loud in the back or being loud wherever, then because more often than not, that's it. You just have someone ignorantly talking, like right there, and you have to do something about it. Some guys are better at it than others. It's something that I've had to work on more because it wasn't my strongest suit. Because my thing was just anger. I used to have horrible anger. I still do. I just deal with it in a positive way. But my thing was like, if someone did that, I would just go at them. I just shut the fuck up, or what are you, a fucking cunt? What's wrong with you? Are you like who? But that doesn't work because then now everyone in the audience thinks I'm the asshole because I came off angry. I can't maintain my emotion. I lose them. So it's.
But then, at the same time, if you don't deal with that situation, your value goes down too. Like, this is a punk.
Yeah, well, I've seen that at shows where this guy, he was actually going to be on the show, was heckling the host, and the host just didn't do anything.
Oh,
and you have to, and at that point, like I've been at some, New York is very good for this, where most clubs in New York, if you act up, they have a bouncer come down and they're like, get the fuck out.
That's very good.
You're done. The better a club is, the more likely they are to just say, hey, fuck off. But you do a lot of rooms out there, especially if you're on the road in the middle of the country or even back in Boston, and there's no security, there's no bouncers. And so you'll have someone continually ruin a show, and then I've been in situations where customers came up and they were like, why didn't anyone fucking throw him out? Isn't he like when the customers start yelling at the person who's ruining the show for everyone else, that's on the club, because now those people don't want to come back to that club and they don't want to see comedy because no one handled that shit. Like, imagine if you went to the movies and someone was just a fucking asshole just yelling the whole time and no one in the movie theater threw them out.
I see what you're saying.
Now you're like, I don't want to go to the movies. I'd rather just rent it and watch it at home because no one's going to do anything about it.
That's very bad for business. That's true. If the situation happens and no one deal with that situation, why do you think that happens? Maybe because the owner of the bar is afraid to lose the customers. Or
that's part of it.
Yeah,
that's part of it, which is wrong because you end up losing
more customers
better customers because you don't want that fucking asshole. You don't want them as a customer. It's just so many of the relationships in life are really similar, man. Because like let's say you're in any business and you have a shitty customer, but you want his money. At a certain point, you got to make the realization, my time and my effort is more than this asshole's giving me. And it's the same thing with being in a relationship with whoever you're fucking or dating.
Yeah.
You realize, these are my standards, and if you're going below that, you're fucking...
You're out.
So many people in relationships with women that they don't like or aren't happy with, or women with men that they don't, or whoever you're dating, and they're like, I'm afraid to be alone because I might not do better. And that fear prevents so many people from saying, I deserve better and getting a better life. I'm afraid to end this potential relationship, which isn't good to begin with, because I don't think I'll get something better. But that's bullshit, because as long as you handle yourself and you're a better person, we get the relationships in life we deserve.
Yes.
If I say, these are my standards, I want someone who's within reason. Like, obviously, if I'm just like, I'm not dating anyone who isn't a fucking model. Well, I know where I'm at. That's unrealistic. I'm not at that tier. But if I say I don't want people who aren't mentally healthy and don't at least attempt to be mentally and physically healthy.
Or making the effort.
Make the effort. Yeah. And then I end up with someone who's a psycho, that's on me. Because I've lowered my standards. I'm not giving myself the best I deserve.
Yeah, it's like Tony Robbins said.
It's the same thing if you run a business. If you let in every fucking hooligan, then they devalue this thing. Same thing. I let in all these people into my life who are negative people, who don't care about what I'm trying to do, and don't care if they destroy my business or my show or my dating life. Yeah. If I let them do that, if I don't say, these are my standards, you don't meet these fucking standards, you're out of here, then you'll never attain a higher value. You'll just be stuck.
That's a good point, man. That's very important. That's very important. The fact that you're not developing yourself because you are putting your standards in someone else, right? So you're not creating your own standard. You're just letting other people meet your standards.
Yeah.
Which is the worst thing that you can do. It's the worst thing you can do. Because that means that you don't have priorities. If you don't have priorities, that means that you don't have direction. Yeah, and that is very dangerous, man.
And people, I used to be we say selfish like it's a really bad thing, but it can be. But selfishness is also good.
Yeah.
Self-preservation is essential. It's instinct.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I first, I talk about when I first went to therapy, it helped me a lot because I don't do it anymore because I don't have money for it in New York. When I was doing it back home, I was so against it, and then I started learning tools because this is just a muscle. Your mind is a muscle. You're going to make it stronger, just like you make your arms or your chest or whatever stronger. I remember I was giving too much of myself to other people, and I remember just not pursuing things for myself. I was trying to be a hero to everyone else. I'm trying to be a hero to who I'm dating. I'm trying to be a hero to my fucking family. I'm trying to save my family from my father and his fucking drinking problem and all that shit. And I can't. And you can't. Sometimes you realize you can't do so. Yeah. I remember my uncle telling me this too. He's like, you need to go be the best person for you. You need to go take care of you. And that's selfishness. But it's good. You should have a certain amount. The reality of the situation is life is very rarely in the extremes. It's a medium in between. And that's why life's fucking tough, is you have to balance that medium. You have to balance being selfish in a positive way and not a negative way. You have to balance all these things in fucking life. You have to balance eating right without being a fucking pig. Balance fucking right without going out and blowing your whole check on hookers.
Yeah. So basically, when you talk about being selfish, is just be better. Be a better version of yourself.
Yes.
And that's a very hard concept to understand, because the best way to change other people is just changing you.
Yes.
And that's so
dude,
hard.
I wish I knew that so long ago.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I knew that when I was younger.
Yeah, that's a very hard concept to understand, because it's easier to try to control others than controlling you.
Yes.
Because when you try to control you, you have to deal with realities the reality that you are in that moment. So when they tell you, hey, man, you want to change this person or this person, man, you have to change it.
You're gonna lead by example.
Because if you tell someone, hey, if you tell someone don't drink with a bottle of wine in their hand, they're not going to believe you. If you tell them, hey, don't eat a lot of pork because you're going to get healthy, but you weigh over 300 pounds, man, it doesn't work like that.
That's how I grew up, and that's how almost every kid I knew grew up. With that, our parents all had that mentality of do as I say, not as I do, which is just a fucking lazy mentality. It's lazy and shitty parenting. If you don't, you can't sit there and go after your kids for smoking cigarettes if you smoke cigarettes in front of them your whole life.
You had your 3 packs of the cigarette, and this is, I think, that's what they call incongruency, right? Incongruency, in other words, is when you can smell the bullshit. Yeah.
Stop expecting someone else to do the work and be a better person if you're not willing to fucking do it and show them that they can do it.
And it is very hard, Mike.
Oh, it's tough. I had to learn from my own method, because I have, like I said, I'm an alcoholic. Yeah. I have issues with alcohol. My father is too, and for a long time...
There was a change, right?
I was like, I have to be the one who does something. I will lead by example to him. It didn't work, but it made my life better in the process.
In that, remember when we were talking about how that, going through that process, right? But that hell of the process make you a better comedian, right? Or a better artist. So when you tell the story, it's congruent. Remember, right? We was talking about that. And as an artist, you can see who has gone through a lot of stuff, man. Yeah. You can tell for miles.
You know, in comedy, it's real fucking easy, man. Because they just talk about what they talk about, and right away you're just like, you're full of shit.
It is bullshit.
You're full of shit, man. Like there's a real. I think it's like this in everything, but in comedy, it's very early on when you just realize if someone's fake, and people don't. It's not unique to. This is just people don't like fake people at all. No, because you don't feel like you can trust them, and you don't want. Instinct tells me don't put people I can't trust in my life. Because you don't know if they're going to fuck you or stab you in the back. And if you're watching an entertainer, whether he's somebody on YouTube or Instagram or a radio personality or a comedian or musician, the more fake they are, the harder it is to connect with them on a personal level.
It's just one of those things, man, that make you think like, okay, so that means I have to start saying no. Yes, you have to start saying no, because if you want to be authentic in whatever you do, in my case, when I do music, I want to be as authentic as I can, man. So you have to take this route. You have to do a lot of self-thinking, look at yourself in the mirror. Like, it's just it's a very hard thing, but you have to go through that process, man.
You gotta just be. I mean, that's just life, dude. You gotta be authentic to you. Because I've seen people where they go, all right, this is the norm. I'm gonna try and be part of that. I'm gonna do what everyone else does. And then there's people that go, I'm gonna do the opposite of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're being defined by that group. You're just being the antithesis of that group. But you're still allowing that fucking group and that sense of normalcy and propriety to define who you are as an opposite. You're still it's why I always couldn't stand, like, I don't know, hipsters or goth or punk rock, because they're none of it. I guess punk is different, but a lot of that when people are kids is they're like, I'm not going to conform to society. And I'm like, but you're still allowing society to affect you by making you the opposite of that. Just fucking be you. Just be you. And the reality is you will be a mixture of a lot of different things, but you'll be you.
So basically, that's a good point, man. So you're the punk rock, well, that's not a punk rock. That's a little bit different, yeah. But let's say you're a hipster, or
just any counterculture thing.
Any collectivistic cultural thing, right? You think, I want to be outside of the norm, but then you are part of this group that said it's outside the norm. You're still part of that group.
You're part of that group's norm, which is a response to the norm.
Which is response to the norm. So you are basically part of the norm, just being a response to the norm.
Exactly. You are an effect of the normalcy of society, whether you give into it or you try and fight it in that respect. The reality is just accept it in both realms. You can bump against it, but it is every aspect of normal society that bad? Nah, not all of it. You can't. Sometimes I go to the movies and I'm just like, dude, every movie is fucking trash. I'm just a cynical douchebag, and I'm like, what, am I just not going to go to the movies anymore? I fucking like movies. I'll just find the ones I like. Like, what am I going to... At a certain point, when you get that negative where your whole thing is, I'm against this other group, then no one wants to fucking be around you. Because your whole thing is, I hate this other thing. No one wants to be around someone who fucking hates 24/7. It's just miserable.
Miserable.
It's miserable, man.
I hate everything. I hate coffee. I hate food, and that's.
I hate what other people like, and that's such a weird. Because I've done that when I was younger, when I was a kid. I remember being into a video game, or an anime, or a TV show, or anything, and then all of a sudden, or a band. Let's say you like a music band, especially with rock. Like, let's say
the metal scene is
metal or hardcore or punk, and then your band starts blowing up. And then other people like it. And then you're like, oh, these fucking regular people are into that thing. Well, I liked them when no one else liked them. And it's like, dude, who fucking cares?
And then all of a sudden it just became commercialized, right?
Yeah, and it's ruined for you. And it's like, why'd you do that? Why just
I don't know, man. It's just
a human thing. It's every culture.
You want to search for that individualistic thing, right? But do you really want it? Because if you really want it, that means you're going to think by yourself. Yeah. There's not going to be a rock, a metal scene, classical scene, a comedian scene that's going to help you. You'll be by yourself. Yeah.
I think a lot of people, I've done this, I think almost everyone does it, is when they see society in a certain way and they feel like, fuck society. Because you get fed up by it, or it rejects you and you're like, fuck whatever. Whatever that normal thing is, that normal aspect of society, fuck it, alright? It's, as we were saying, it still affects you, and you can't fully, I don't know, refute it. It's just be.
So you say that
you're by consuming something else, you're trying to be different, and you're basing your difference and your individuality off of what you consume.
Yeah.
I'm different because I like this music. I'm different because I eat this food. Just be fucking you, and you will be different. You're never going to be different by taking in things from the outside. I'm different because I drink this style of coffee, or I eat this type of food, or I hang out with these type of people. Just fucking be you. Mm-hmm. Just be you, man.
Very simple
Stop
concept,
trying.
Yeah.
You can't make yourself different with the clothes you wear. And you see it in New York all the time, because New York has 9 million people, and everyone moves here, and they're fighting to be different and unique in this city. And so some people get piercings, or they get crazy hair, or they get crazy outfits. But in that same way, there's other people that copy that. They're copying other people. They're still not really being different. They're trying to find what makes them unique outside of themselves instead of looking inside of themselves.
Yeah. Looking to the inside, again, because you have to confront the demons, man.
It's all taking who you are and pushing it out instead of trying to pull other shit in.
And I was talking with an Italian friend when I was in Italy, Carlos, and we used to talk a lot about the inner games, right, or the inner stuff of artists, right? And he used to tell me, like, Pablo, I try to talk about these things with the other musicians, and they just they don't want to. And I told him why, and I said, like, you know why they don't want? Because they're going to confront something that they're going to regret.
Yeah.
It's because somehow, sometime, somewhere, you have to confront them. You have to confront them, because then if you don't do it, right, you're still going to live in this fantasy that you think that you created, right? Mm-hmm. But then, when the shit hit the fan, you know it's going to be hard.
It's going to be worse because you piled it up over years and you didn't deal with it. If you avoid a problem, like if you're in a bad relationship, if you're in a marriage and you realize this is a bad marriage 2 months in, a divorce 10 years later is going to be so much worse than a divorce 1 year later. Because you kept putting the problem off.
Yeah, that would be worse.
It's what every politician does. They're like, I'm not going to deal with this problem. I'm going to let the next bastard who comes in office deal with it. That's why whenever there's an issue in our country or any country, it turns into a giant thing because no one wanted to deal with it at the fucking time.
And then they say, see, I didn't go here. I didn't do this. See, I'm clean. But reality is just that.
Just avoid it.
Yeah. It's better confront the problems, confront your problems, face up. Just go straight to it.
People are afraid of confrontation. They're so afraid. Yes. They're so afraid. Yes. But if you're afraid of confrontation, you're afraid of life. Because life is confrontation. That's what life is. Animals eating each other, trying to compete with one another, and humanity. And it's not just the world. It's your fucking mind. Every human soul is just in confrontation with itself. Yes. I have 2 ideas in my head, and they're always competing. Oh, am I going to be this person or that person? And they're always fucking fighting.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And you're just trying to find that medium.
Yeah, it's crazy. Do you want to be the gazelle or the lion?
Be the fucking lion.
Yeah, of course, man.
I mean, sometimes you're going to get eaten by other lions, and eventually you're going to get sick. Shit happens.
No, it's weird, man, because these conversations like this, like going deep into the inner, right, is what really makes you go farther, huh? I can just spend all this time practicing, right? I can do it, right? Mm-hmm. But I already know what the process of it, you know? I don't like to practice my instrument, all that stuff. But I need tension in my life. I need tension because I need tension will expand myself, right? When we go to the gym, we're looking for that tension.
Yeah, you're looking for a wall to go up against.
Yeah.
You have to. It's funny we're talking about this because I've just been I'm reading a book about American history, but I'm also listening to a podcast about the life of Teddy Roosevelt. And Teddy was a very complex person. He did some really fucked up shit. He did some good shit. But I mean, that's kind of most
how
people.
It is,
we realize that in stand-up because everyone wants your actors and entertainers to be perfect, and then you're like, I love Bill Cosby. Well, he raped a bunch of people. Shit. I guess I don't love him anymore. And he's an extreme case.
Yeah.
Obviously, with him, you're like, fuck him, and you're a piece of shit. But there are other people like Louis C.K. where you're convoluted. All right, I love his humor. is he a terrible human for what he did? He did some bad shit. You shouldn't fucking be telling your coworkers, look at my fucking pud while I pull it.
Yeah.
But does that deem him forever? But, back to what Roosevelt's big thing was, constantly going out, and he would wrestle and fight people in the White House. Like, he was the first, one of the first Americans to learn judo and jiu-jitsu, and he had a teacher from Japan come over and teach him in the White House in the early 1900s, like over a century ago, when that was unheard of, because he felt that he had to constantly be competing against his own self as well as the world, which is, I think...
Very competitive person, that's true.
Yeah, which is the right... You always have to... If you stop fighting with yourself, maybe fighting is not the right word, but competing with yourself, trying to be a better person, then where does that leave you? I think it leaves you frozen, because I know so many dudes back home. I remember working with dudes who had kids, and they'd be saying stuff, and I'm like, I don't have kids, but, and I'm, they'd be like, oh man, I bought my kid, talking to these guys, we work these jobs, man, we work long hours, and we just get caught up in, our job would become our life. And I would always fight against my bosses, because they'd be like, we need you to work every day this week, 14-hour days. And I'd be like, I'm not doing that. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm not fucking doing that. I'm taking a day off to go spend time with my girlfriend or my friends, because I don't fucking do this. I'm good at this job. You're not going to fucking can me. But this is, I don't live to work for you. I work so that I can go live for myself and I have money. And a lot of guys wouldn't stand up for themselves, and they get walked all over. And then they were like, we can't stand up for ourselves here. And I'm like, bullshit, because I fucking did. I told them what I was going to do, and now we've set a line. We've set a fucking rule. We set a boundary that you don't get to treat me like shit every day. I'll put up with most of it. Otherwise, they'll find someone else to do it.
You have to post a boundary. That's very
important. But I talk to these other dudes, and they're like, oh man, my kid... I'm trying to buy out. These fathers I would work with were trying to buy stuff for their kids, and their kids they're like, I think my kid just wants to spend time with me. And I was like, you think? You think your son isn't gonna love you more because you buy him a fucking Xbox? He just wants to be with you. Take him out fishing. Take him for a hike. Do shit with him. Like, I don't have kids, but I know that the fundamental thing to raising a child is spending time with them.
Which is a very bad concept that modern parents have. Like, oh, if I buy things to my child, that is going to constipate what they sell. Like, it's going to be better than just spending time with their kid, which is not good.
It's consumerist society, man.
Yeah, you have to spend time with your kid. Your kid is going to prefer. Because I remember when I was a kid, and I love my family. But I remember enjoying more of my time with my father than him buying something for me. I love to just play ball with him, just play catch, just go to the theater, just go into Pizza Hut and just eat something. I really love those times though.
Those were some of my favorite times from my childhood, despite the fact that my relationship with my father isn't good. I still love him and care about him. I want him to be better. I would never turn him out of my life unless he did something truly horrific. But because I had, people often... It's very easy for me to talk about the bad things that he did to me, but I forget that there were so many good things. Yeah. Some of my happiest memories are just us being fucking goofy. I got my sense of humor from him, from playing pranks and just hiking through the woods. We would, this isn't PC now, but we'd hike through the woods with a BB gun and just fucking shoot chipmunks and squirrels, which is fucked up. Now I look back on it. Or you just do dumb shit, like you get firecrackers and put them in fucking dog shit and blow them up. Maybe it's
that's very common though, yeah.
I just was trying to retell this story because I realized but I remember my dad and me, when I was like 13, tricked my aunt into thinking that my cousin, her son, had been abducted by a child molester, which is a terrible thing to do. But
crazy, yeah.
In the moment, it was really fucking funny. Yeah. But I was like, I remember how hard I laughed. Just how much
those are the moments
at her expense. Yeah. But it was just, there was no cost of money to any of that, to hiking through the woods, to just playing games. But those are the moments, and that's what builds a relationship between you and your friends and your family and your relatives, man.
Because one day, I'm assuming you'll become a father, even when you're 40 or 50, whoever. and you will like to transfer some good relationship.
Yeah.
You don't want to be this guy that's rich and you have a kid for some reason, and you say, okay, just going to buy everything. You don't want to be that person.
Honestly, dude, I think it's even worse with poor people and a lot of immigrant families who come to the U.S. Because one of the dudes that I was talking with that I used to work with was like, he grew up in South Boston with me. He grew up in the projects, and he was like, I didn't have anything growing up, So I thought, now that I have a son, I need to buy him a new video game system all the time. And I talk with a lot of people I've met in New York whose parents are immigrants, and they're kind of the same way because they grew up in wherever, Africa, India, Latin America, somewhere where they were in extreme poverty, and they come here and they make it, and they're like, I have to give my kid what I didn't have. But they don't realize that because they haven't experienced that fucking product isn't going to fix your soul. You're never going to get fulfillment from a physical thing.
Yeah, because if your kid does not learn the values that you learn, remember your kid is getting another perspective. I'm just receiving toys because that's daddy. Daddy just gave me toys, but then he's not learning the experience or the values that you learn just going through that experience, huh?
People almost never value shit they don't work for. Why would you? I mean, why would you? It's free. It's free. Like, I just thought about this on my way to the gym earlier. Like, how often do you watch a video online for free?
Yeah.
Somebody made a video, took the time and the effort to make some stupid skit or some stupid whatever, and then just put a video up on Instagram or Facebook, and how many thousands of people complain? And I'm like, it's fucking free, dude. You don't like it, don't, whatever. But why are you, like, I watched this Facebook page, Milo the Cat, right? And this guy just takes cartoons and stuff from the 90s, and then he takes rap songs and he just syncs them up. And he did one where it was Doug Funny, and he synced it up with some rap song. And people were complaining, and I'm like, he's doing it for free.
Crazy,
what are you bitching and moaning for?
And you know what's the crazy for me to have a YouTube channel? Man, it's a lot of work, man.
It's a ton of work.
It's a lot of work. Go to the place to make a recording. Make sure that your cameras are well placed. That your recording are the best. And the thing is that you have to choose between 20 25 those recordings. Go back. Put in all those videos in your computer. Now try to sync the audio with it. Man, it's like 9 hours, man, of work.
I'm trying to edit a video right now of me, which is it's me pretending to be two different characters. It probably won't even be 2 minutes worth of material, and I want to kill myself. I want to just fucking smash my head in a glass window and just jump out of the third floor, because I'm just like, but I have to do it because I just suck at editing. But I need to be better. That's on me. I have to learn, but I'm fighting it because I'm scared I'm going to suck at it. I'm fighting it for all these reasons because I'm not good at it, and it seems like too much, but I have to. And obviously over time it'll get easier. It's still going to be work. But I have, like comedy, our big competition now is the internet. I mean, and it's like that for all entertainment. But nowadays, if you want to get into a club or a room, you can't just be funny. You need to have followers. And the same thing for actors. You just don't get a movie because you're the best actor. If you get a part in a movie, they'll give the best parts to good actors. But all the lower parts, they want people who are famous already from YouTube or Instagram or some other shit. And my first thought was, fuck those people. They're all hacks. Who the fuck did they? I was jealous. I'm jealous. Yeah. I worked so fucking hard to be funny. I worked so hard, done so many terrible shows. I'm doing the best I can to do what I think is the best comedy I can give a fucking audiences. And then someone gets famous on Vine or YouTube, and they can just come in because they have all these followers. Fuck them. And then I realized, that's me. I'm being insecure. I'm fucking threatened. Instead of sitting here saying, fuck them, I should learn from them. Because the internet isn't going away. All right? And if I don't learn to adapt, I'm going to be a dinosaur. And there's no future for me. So I need to learn to respect the game. They are working. They're doing something that I'm not good at. I'm not as good as them at doing certain types of videos online. It's just, I can't translate myself that way. I can do my own thing. I can't do it the way they do it. But they can't do stand-up the way I can necessarily do it. All right? Because most of those people aren't good on stage the way a regular stand-up comic is. But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't learn from them. Just like MMA, right?
Yeah.
You look at MMA. It used to be, when UFC started, it was like, we'll have a sumo wrestler fight a karate guy, fight a jiu-jitsu. And then eventually everyone was like, I'm just going to take the best from each style.
Yeah.
That's what you should do. You should learn from every type of entertainment, every type of philosophy, and you pick the best things and the things that work from you. If you sit there and say, fuck that, I don't like that,
that's your
and
ego
it works,
right now.
that's your ego and your pride fucking you.
Yeah, which is the worst enemy. So, Les Brown says, there's no enemy within that the enemy outside can do you no harm. So basically, the worst enemy you have is the one that's inside.
Absolutely.
Because if they are doing something that works, remember the guy that was getting laid or was pulling the girls in the bar?
Exactly.
And then you have the better male saying like, I can do better. He's a mean guy. He's an asshole with him. But then, dude, why do you just learn what he's doing?
Because that means you have to change and work harder and go outside your boundaries of safety, which is scary. It's not fucking easy, but it's what you have to do. Because the other alternative is to wait for thousands of years of human evolution to change overnight so that you become the more desirable man. Or you're going to wait for the internet to just go away and things to go back to the way they used to be in the 80s and the 90s in stand-up and music, and they're not. So you have two choices. All right, sit there and wait and think that they're going to go back, and they're not, and just bitch and moan and complain and blame every other fucking person in the world other than yourself. Or you can learn to adapt and change. All right, and you can learn this is the way it works. Yeah. Either I can go for that, or I can accept it, or I can accept my results.
Which again, it's a lot of work. That's why they're still doing it, because it works, but it's a lot of work.
And you may not even find success. You can't emulate what those people are doing in that same way, because you might not just be that person, but you can find a way that works for you.
Yes.
You can find your own path.
You know that. It's crazy because I put videos and I get not a lot of subscribers, right? But
it's tough.
But the people that do see my videos, they say, "Hey, I watched your video, your YouTube channel is nice, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Oh, thank you. This is my contact. I'm a violinist. I'm all that." I'm like, "Oh, see, I don't have a lot of subscribers, but then whatever I have is giving me some results." See, so it's basically it comes down to just try to get stuff done, even though, which is a problem in the community that I'm now, is that people don't want to deal with digital stuff. They just don't want to, man.
Yeah.
They just don't want to, and you have to do the transition. You have to go to the podcast. You have to invite people. You have to learn from other people. You have to expand yourself, because if you don't do it, you're going to be like the dinosaur. Saying. You know?
Right before we started this, you were like, I never thought I'd be doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Right? I never thought I'd be trying to edit down videos for me to put on YouTube, but I'm trying to do it.
Yeah.
I never thought I would be there. I was like, I'll just be a comic, and then, maybe someone will get me into a movie or something. But nowadays, more than ever, you can't wait for other people to do stuff for you. You have to do it yourself. Yeah. And it's not easy. It's fucking scary, man. Yeah. I'm not going to pretend that I don't get nervous when I put out content and worry about getting trashed for it. It's still fucking... I'm relatively confident, dude. It still fucking scares me. Yeah. It gets easier over time, but no one likes when you put something out there and then someone writes, "This sucks, I hope your mother dies of cancer." No one likes that. That doesn't fucking feel good. But if you... It depends on how bad you want something. If you want it bad enough, you'll deal with that fucking bullshit. Yeah. I mean, I used to be so afraid of the internet and putting stuff out there because I was so afraid of getting attacked. I was so fucking afraid. And I was talking to this other comic, and I was telling him, I was like, "Man, I want to do this thing, but I'm so worried about..." And he's like, "Dude, the day I give a fuck about what any other comic thinks of me." And I was like, "God damn it, dude, that's what I should be thinking." Yeah. Dan Pena, I don't know if you know about Dan Pena. He's a billionaire that lives in Scotland. He's an American billionaire. And he said, like, the best tool... Oh, Dan Bilzerian? No, Dan Pena. Dan Pena? He's one of these rich, old-school Rockefeller kind of guy. He's still alive, though. But he has that old-school billionaire mentality, right?
And he said, like, the most powerful weapon that you can have is not giving a fuck, man.
It is.
It's just, because it's true, because that means no one controls me.
The more I don't give a fuck, the happier I am as a person, too. It sucks. I mean, it sucks that that's in my head, that I still have self-doubts to that degree where I'm worried about what someone else is going to think or say. But what are you going to, you just got to fight it.
Yeah.
You just got to battle against it.
Oh, man. Well, Mike, we have to finish the podcast. Man, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I mean, it was so much work to come over here.
Yeah. No, we'll probably have you back in a couple of weeks. Let's see if we can keep talking about shit and stuff like stuff. I like to talk to you, man. I really do. I love talking to you, man.
Yeah, this is fun, man. Yeah. We finally see, this is what we talk about, making contact. How many times have we sat down, fucking shirtless in the kitchen, eating eggs?
This is what we do every time that we sit down, dude. This is just the topics that we just recorded in the podcast. That's what we do.
Because I'll one more thing, but like a lot of times when I'll hang out with other comics and stuff, I've had times when I've just said something that's funny, and they're like, "Oh, you're working on material on me," and I was like, "No, I'm just being,
really?
I'm just trying to be funny." Because I got into comedy because I was already funny. I didn't just do this and think, "How do I be funny?" This is my only real talent I fucking have. I can't. I'm not an athlete. If I was a fucking athlete, I'd go be one.
Wow. So
I'm not a musician.
So we have those eyes there, like.
It was, yeah, but so when a lot of my jokes are things that also I've said to someone, and then they just laughed incredibly hard, and they just kept, I was like, is that funny? I didn't even realize, I was just trying to shoot the shit, and then I'm like, maybe there's something there.
Yeah.
Same thing with life. Sometimes you have something sitting in your lap, and you just gotta grab it, and realize, oh, I can make something out of this. This fucking conversation.
Crazy. I like those conversations. The camera's off.
Oh, yeah, we don't want to keep it going.
But man, thank you so much for coming.
All right.
I really appreciate it. Alright. Mike Bain, comedian. Well, where can people find you?
Look me up on Twitter or Instagram at Mike Bain Comedy. Same thing with my YouTube page. Just Google Mike Bain, Mike Bain Comedy. My stuff will come up.
Facebook, do you have any Facebook?
Facebook, Mike Bain, BAIN. You know, pretty. It's just across the board, man.
Okay. There you have it, guys. All the information. Follow him on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Okay. Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks, Pablo.
All right.